So when you think about church planning, a lot of times you think about sending someone overseas where there are no churches, or maybe somewhere in America where there's a lot of de-churched or unchurched people, where their church is not thriving and there's a really strong need for churches. A lot of times we think that's where churches need to go, that's where church plants need to happen. But really, when we study and we start to think about how does the gospel flourish, right? How does the Great Commission work in full effect? Well, it's through church planting in every capacity. So as you see cities not necessarily growing, but changing as culture changes and shifts, the best way to engage and reach new people is through new churches. And we see this time and time again throughout history. And so it's not something that is saying old churches don't matter anymore. Not at all. It's saying, hey, the best way to revitalize old churches is to help them fulfill the Great Commission, and that's to be involved with church planting. And that's one of the things that drew me to Karis in the first place. Karis was this church that really, really cared about church planting. They weren't trying to build their own kingdom. They weren't trying to say, hey, we're going to get to, however many hundred, and then we've arrived. We've got this great big building. We're doing all the things we want to do. It was, hey, who else can we send? Who else can we raise up? How can we make leaders that make leaders? And we've got so many kids, so many people who go to college, who go to Bible college, go to seminary, and they think they have all the tools. When in reality, you've got folks who've never really actually spent time under men. Again, the pattern we see in the New Testament is not just guys going out solo. Right? You've got Timothy, who's trained up by Paul. You've got Silas, who's trained up by Paul. And you've got all these different men who are going in church planting and being groomed. So I decided to come to Karis. And I'm so thankful I did. Coming to Karis has been not only huge for me, but also for my wife. In large part because I think so many guys are so focused, so driven on their ministry and what they're going to do that they don't consider their spouse or their family. So for me, what was so encouraging was just the amount of effort and love that was poured out on my wife. Hey, don't just drag her along. Don't just make her come with you and accept everything that you're doing, but shepherd her heart. Share your vision with her. And I've been really blessed because throughout the entire process, Anna has been incredibly supportive, and she has felt just this amazing blessing from both being a part of Karis and Acts 29, where there's not just a focused effort on the man and his calling and his competency, but also on his wife and her following and being supportive, yes, but also being a part of the ministry. And so very much so, my wife owns this idea, this church planning in Western North Carolina as much as I do. And so I've been so grateful for that she very much so thinks that this is something that she's called to as well, not just something that I'm called to. The other day we were having this amazing party with friends at church, and we were laughing together, we were having a good time, and we go home and I just said to my wife, it's going to be so hard to leave. And it is. It's going to be so hard because we love so many people so much. And I just said to her, sometimes I wonder, should we just stay? Again, that's just me being selfish and wanting it to be easy. And she says, no, because we need to take this somewhere else where there isn't anything like this. And she's right. That's part of what church planting is. It's taking that gospel community on mission somewhere else. In Luke 10:2, we read, "And he said to them, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest."